Let us turn to page 4. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, by my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Independent origin. Sangye joda zoge chonam. Tanjo bado dane gyatsu che. Dage chin so kebe sonam. Yola benjir sangye dubaranjo. Sangye joda zoge chonam. Tanjo bado dane gyatsu che. Dage chin so kebe sonam. Yola benjir sangye dubaranjo. Sangye joda zoge chonam. Yanju bardo. Gibe sonam gim, dola benjir sanje dubara sho. The next page, page 6. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum te shamdatagato yavatat Desham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramana yesva Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham datagato yavatat Esham chayo nirodha Ati mahashramana yesva Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam Etum tesham datagato yavatat Esham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramana yesva Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum te gato yavatat Desham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramana yesva All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation causes as well as taught by the great seer. Okay, today we will read the 3 principal aspects of the path, page number 78. This is Shelley Pina's favorite text, right? Yeah. Page 78. Page 78, the 3 principal aspects of the path. Okay, so basically, this is extremely concise. The short text composed by Lama Tsongkhapa, whose statue is here, and as your understanding of renunciation, bodhicitta, wisdom, emptiness, they grow, then you see that these just 14 verses, they are of enormous help for us. Extremely succinct, clear, and this is so helpful. And the 3 principal aspects of the path, meaning that the journey, gade, para, samgade, bodhisattva, as we go through this journey, we need three things. This morning we discussed four. What are they? Shamatha, renunciation, bodhicitta, emptiness, wisdom of emptiness. Of the four, what we do is that the shamatha is the one which stabilizes all the three, the remaining three. So shamatha is included as a part of the three. In terms of contents, these three, and to stabilize the three, we have the shamatha practice. So in terms of contents, the main contents, renunciation, bodhicitta, wisdom, emptiness. So these are the three principal aspects of the path indicated here. And shamatha, of course, is required for us, and for you, me, for all of us, to extract a meaning out of one's life. If we can do these four things on a daily basis, that will be extremely meaningful. And meanwhile, say whatever work that you're doing, the livelihood, earning for livelihood, you can do that. You can engage in these things, but we also need to prepare for the purpose of life in this life, purpose for this life, and then also for the future lives. And for the future lives, I know that many of you have. How do you know that there's future life? Well, this is going to be a big question, and very important question. And this requires if somebody is very serious with wanting to know as to how we know that there's a future lives. So for this, require more the analysis, the rigorous intellectual, logical thinking, and also some degree of experience. It's not that you have to see the past life, future life. No requirement of these, but at least that you have to see how the mind works and the reasons. Many people, they don't really, even those people who believe in rebirth, reincarnation concept, they don't really explore how that is possible. And then those people who don't believe in it, of course, they will not even touch this area. But the reality is that there is the rebirth, which is extremely important. And then for this, how? How do we know that there's rebirth? This is a very important subject. And so that is something that we have to explore separately about the rebirth concept. Very important, and at the same time, these three principal aspects of the path, which would shape your life, give meaning to your life, and this life, and of course the next life. About the rebirth, what happened was: is there anybody from Israel? Raise hands. 1, 2, 3. Oh, you're Mexico.
Yes.
Not Israel.
No, Mexico. Sorry. I
Yes, okay. 1, 2, 3, okay, 4. In fact, 2019 I was in Israel, and I have many good friends there in Israel. And I would say that those of you from Israel here, you can, there's one, what's that? Dharma Friends of Israel. There's one group there, and particularly there was one physicist. The wife is a Buddhist. She embraced Buddhism, and the husband is a physicist, and the husband doesn't believe in any reincarnation, nothing. And the wife is so keen that her husband should follow Buddhism. And the husband says no. And my visit 2018, I think, the wife was persuading the Dharma Friends of Israel, the director, to let me stay in their house, for them to host me. And the director also was smart, and look for some excuses, and somehow he kept me in his house. And the next 2019, again this lady requested, and you will know the agenda later on. And then the 2019, out of 2-3 weeks, and the director made a provision that I can stay with them for only 1 day, 1 night. That's it. And they received me, the husband and wife. They received me, and I was already very tired from north-south, long street, right? Very tiring, and trip several times. And I was all very tired. I did not have any energy. And getting there, the wife already organized the tea. And the meeting with the tea, snacks and so forth, and the husband was there. And then she started the conversation. Gishana, please tell us something about rebirth. And I said, no, I don't have energy. To talk about rebirth, it requires a lot of energy, and the mind should be, the rested, should have energy. I don't have energy. And then so she gave up that day. That day meaning that session. So we had tea together, and then the husband, he started to talk about his own personal. From the outside, he's very brilliant, very intelligent. One physicist, a senior physicist. He must be in his 60s, if not his 60s, I think. Very intelligent. And then he spoke about his own personal experience, like how the mind works. He was talking like this. And then what he said was that he was very confidently telling us, and that me and my 2 Indian friends, 3 of us are there with 2 of them, saying that how the mind works. When you train the mind, initially it is where you require the effort. And then later on, once you get used to that, you don't have to think, automatically it happens. And of course, I don't agree. And he said it very confidently. I did not really intrude in this. I just, yes. And he was saying this repeatedly 2-3 times, because it was the last few days he was going through some the piano training, and how he pressed the keyboards initially with the conscious effort, and later on it became automatic. This was his feeling, and he was confident in saying this. So he was teaching philosophy. Then I said that because he repeatedly said it, just to create a sense of environment of exchange, I said that, okay, you have to think like this. Say first, you think that automatic is not automatic. Still the thinking process is going there. Without thinking process, it will not flow automatically. Because the music, there are different musics. And the fingers flow differently. And how it's not automatic, I'll explain this to you. So then I said that first, tell me when you press one key, how much time it takes. Let's say 1 second to press one key when you are not used to that. Then you practice it 2-3 days. Gradually, it's like half a second. Gradually, it's like 1/10 of a second, 1/20th of a second, and 1/50th of a second. By the time it reaches like 1/50th of a second, you feel that is automatic, because your mind does not have the ability to distinguish between 1/50th and 1/60th and 1/70th, because it's too short duration that your mind cannot really discern the distinction. And so therefore it is logical that the duration which requires you to press the button, press the key, duration gets shorter, but it is not just automatic happens. It's not automatic means no duration. There's a duration there. the duration becomes shorter, 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 shorter. And this is how you think this automatic. It's not automatic. If you practice even more, you think it's even more automatic. There's no more automatic. Automatic was automatic. There's no automatic. If there's more automatic means earlier it's not automatic. And then he remains silent. He remains silent because it makes sense to him. He remains silent. He did not really challenge. He stopped there. And then evening, the dinner time, on the dinner table. Again she said, Kishava, tell me something about the rebirth. And I said, I told you, I don't have this energy to talk about this topic. This is a very complicated topic. It requires very rigorous, full of energy, freshness of the mind. I don't have energy. Then she becomes so desperate. Now, half a day gone. Then this evening, the next day I'm leaving. So she said, then she pointed to the husband and said, he's the one who doesn't believe in rebirth. So why she was insisting since last year was to bring Gila here so that he speaks of rebirth, and then her husband is convinced and become a Buddhist. This was her agenda. Yeah. And then I felt really, a big sympathy to her. And I started to talk about not really rebirth per se, but I talked something very generic. I said that so he was staring like this. Now she already exposed that he's the one. And then he started staring like this, and like this, and now he took him like this. And then I said that, number one, you are extremely brilliant physicist. You have a brilliant mind, brilliant brain. And so this brilliant brain and mind, when you have the brilliant mind, brilliant brain, you should be able to prove that you can do something different. And if you use this brain just to fill your belly, which means you earn something and then you use for your food, this even the dog can do. It does not require a brilliant brain. You have a brilliant brain, you're a physicist. And this must be used to explore something which ordinary people cannot explore, like rebirth. This is so important. And why rebirth? There are so many topics. Why rebirth? Why not Big Bang? Why not before Big Bang? And so forth. There are so many topics of which why rebirth? Rebirth is a very important concept. If it is just a nonsense topic, then of course it's just waste of time. Whereas it's a very serious topic in ways that if there's rebirth, it's very scary. You are not prepared. Because small children, they want to continue to play on the playground. They don't want to go to school. But the parents will push the child to go to school. Why? Parents could see beyond today. Parents could see the child after 10 years, after 20 years, after 20, 30 years. But the child cannot see that long. The child can only see today. So therefore the child says, I want to play, I don't want to go to school. Because he or she does not see the benefit of going to school. But the mother sees the benefit. So the mother will persuade. So in a way, the mother is preparing the child after 5 years, after 20 years, 30 years. But the child, since the child could not see that, the child is not ready to prepare for that. So therefore, if you don't think about the rebirth, if the rebirth does exist, you become like a small child. You're not prepared for the next life. So therefore, this is a very serious matter and it's very scary. For example, so you just whatever saving that you have, use it today for 5-star hotel, go there, just being in indulgence, just waste all the money within 1 week. Then what after that? You have to survive. So wise people will not waste their money like this because they know what is beyond 1 week, beyond 10 days, beyond 1 year. So this is not a saving. Likewise, the rebirth is a topic which is something that we need to explore. If you don't explore, it's very scary. If it does exist, then you are not prepared. Then what is going to be consequence? You will suffer so badly in the next life. So therefore it's so important to explore. And then we discuss a little bit about it. And of course, we don't really go too detailed into it. And yes, we can go too deep into this. And if somebody is really interested in this, while there's a the explanation there, logical explanation, particularly one text by Acharya Dharmakirti in 7th century AD, one great Indian Buddhist logician. The verse we read every morning, the one who is transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher is regarded and protector to human frustrations. So this verse, the author who commented on this with whole one chapter, 283 verses, this chapter is dedicated primarily to establish rebirth. That too logically. And you do find, some people who talk about rebirth on the basis of like stories, anecdotes, and so forth. But this book by Acharya Dharmakirti is all logical assertions, logical reasonings to establish what the rebirth is. So meanwhile, what is required is not only the logical part, logical plus. This logic is so important. If you just rely on the stories, it is not of much benefit. Just relying on the anecdotes. Oh, somebody remembered the past life and so forth. Yes, there are such anecdotes as that, but to what extent you can really trust these anecdotes? This is the question. But these anecdotes will be helpful. For example, like what is that, Dr. Stephen, I think. One doctor, medical doctor, allopathic medical doctor, maybe American, and then he met with about like 200 cases, all these 50 years. He met with 200 cases of the little young children who remembered their past lives. So that one we can use in order to get a deeper, say, the conviction, but the logical assertion is so important. Logically, to prove that this is so important, that is done by Acharya Dharmakirti. Okay, and this is one of my, this is one of the topics which I feel, I personally feel very important, and I feel also a responsibility to talk about it more and to discuss on this more. Okay, so this is one part. There's a little bit of digression about the rebirth. Okay, so three principal aspects of the path. So the three, which means renunciation, bodhicitta, and the wisdom of emptiness. Three. And the bodhicitta, first the renunciation aspiration to stay away from miseries. We want to get away from miseries. How many of you agree with me in a sense? That you want to get away from miseries? Good. So renunciation will help us. Renunciation doesn't mean that some people have a very naive understanding of renunciation. Many people think that Buddhism is a self-denial religion. Self-denial religion. How? Say you have good cars, you have good house, you just renounce all these things, right? And then you have to put on a very shabby dress, right, dirty dress, and then you become so shabby. This is not Buddhism. So this is how this concept is coming into being. Misconceptions happening is because of related to the concept of renunciation. Renunciation, they think renunciation. Even the word renunciation, you may get a feeling it means to renounce the world, right? No, renounce miseries. When you come to Buddhism, when you come to Buddhist centers, you don't go to say that, please teach me, I have so much happiness, please teach me how to renounce my happiness. This is not how you join the centers. This is not how you came to the center. You say that I have so much problem, please teach me how to distress me, please teach me how to remove my problems, not how to remove my happiness. So the renunciation is misunderstood to understand, to refer to as renouncing your happiness. No. It is to renounce your miseries. Number one. Number two, bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is to embrace your happiness, expand your happiness. This is bodhicitta. And of course, don't keep it too loose. What is bodhicitta? Bodhicitta is expand happiness. Don't stay there. Bodhicitta, you have to know the technical definition of this. Technical definition, what I'm sharing with you, that is to expand your happiness,
this is the purpose. The purpose, what for we are practicing this. When you know the purpose, then you feel like practicing it. And then you will inquire, what exactly is bodhicitta? The bodhicitta is the aspiration to become Buddha, aspiration to become Buddha for the benefit for sentient beings. That is bodhicitta, technical definition. So, bodhicitta is to expand your happiness. Okay, how many do you want to expand your happiness? Presents? Good, everybody, right? You all want to expand your happiness. If we really want to expand happiness and that to the, let's say, the infinitely possible, then go for bodhicitta. Then what is number 3? Renunciation, bodhicitta. Wisdom of emptiness. Finally, freedom from fears and expansive happiness. These two are not outside. What we discussed on day 1, that squeezing a handful of sand, squeezing a handful of sunflower seeds, squeezing a handful of sand, there's no oil coming out. Squeezing a handful of sunflower seeds, yes, oil does come out. What's the difference? I think your name?
Terry.
What Terry said, I remember what Terry said is that there's the handful of sunflower seeds has the nature to give rise to oil. Or is the potential, nature means the potential to give rise to oil. Whereas the sunflower, whereas the sand, handful of sand, does not have that nature, does not have the potential to give rise to oil. So we have this nature, we have the potential to give rise to fearlessness and infinite happiness. What is that potential known as? Buddha nature. We have this Buddha nature. So Buddha doesn't mean that the Buddhism, it simply means the potential to experience fearlessness and potential to experience infinite happiness. We all have this. Now, if you have this, why don't you feel that? Hey, if you have these two potentials to feel the fearlessness and feel the infinite happiness, so as opposed to the fearlessness, we feel fear. As opposed to infinite happiness, we don't feel the happiness. So, if these two potentials within us, why don't we experience these two? Why not? Anyone? Why?
Because of afflictive and cognitive obscurations?
Because these two are obscured by the obscurations. And being very precise, Tomar, your name. Your name. Tomar, yeah. So Tomar is saying is that these two potentials are there, but why do we see these two obscured by the obscurations known as afflictive obscurations and cognitive obscurations? Very good. Okay. Now now our job, what we said is that renunciation means to renounce miseries. Bodhicitta means to embrace, to expand your happiness. But these two are already within us in a dormant state. How to activate this? How to make this happen? By removing the obscurations. By removing the afflictive obscurations, you get what? By removing afflictive obscurations, you get what? Fearlessness. By removing cognitive obscurations, what do you get? Infinite happiness. Technically referred to as Buddhahood. In the vernacular sense, is the infinite happiness. You getting it? So, for that, we need to remove the mental dirt. What will help us to remove the mental dirt? What will help us to remove the mental dirt? Wisdom of emptiness. Good. So, bodhicitta, renunciation, bodhicitta, and the wisdom of emptiness. We require these three things. And these three things need to be stabilized. To stabilize this, we require the shamatha meditation. So, it becomes 4. Contents-wise, 3. And to stabilize it, one which stabilizes these 3, we have the shamatha. So what is taught here is the 3 contents of our life, meaningful life, 3 contents. Now, each of these 3 contents refer to as the 3 principal paths. Each of these 3 are taught under 3 subheadings. Each of these 3 points are taught under 3 subheadings. Number 1, if I tell you, right, you're a beginner, you have never come to such teachings, and suddenly you end up in Tushita, and I said, hey, Michael, practice renunciation. What will you ask me? You have no idea. Things, huh?
How?
Okay, Michael will ask how. Anybody else?
What is?
Huh?
What is?
What is that? Anyone else? What questions you may ask me?
Why?
Why? Yes. Number one, right? Michael is, so obedient. Right? Oh, yes, sir. How? Right? So the first question should be why? Why should I do it? Why? Right? If you said you are sitting very calm, peacefully, and somebody says, get out, right? You say, why? Right? First the question is why? Why should I practice renunciation? Right? And then the next is that, what is renunciation? Right? If I give you some renunciation, give reasons for your own benefit, then what is renunciation? Right? And then I explain what is renunciation, then how? So how is the one who is a very obedient person, right? Who he trusts you so much, right? So don't trust too much. First begin with question, right? So first begin with why, and then what and how will come together. Why, how, and then. So you do that. When you do that, then how do I know that I've accomplished it? What is the measure? What is the measure of having succeeded or having accomplished renunciation? What are the 3 points? Why? Why to generate renunciation or why to cultivate renunciation? Number 2, how to cultivate renunciation? Number 3, what is the measure of having generated renunciation? What about 3 points? Anyone? What 3 points? With the renunciation? Why to cultivate renunciation? How to cultivate renunciation? The measure of having cultivated or having generated renunciation. 3 points. Likewise for bodhicitta, same 3. If I say, what's your name? Andreas. Practice bodhicitta. What is your question? Why? Good. Right? And then next, how? Then next, what is the measure of having generated bodhicitta? Likewise, wisdom. Right? Okay, let's say, okay. Your name?
Joy.
Okay. Joy, practice wisdom of emptiness.
Why?
Yes. Why to generate, why to cultivate wisdom of emptiness? And then, how to cultivate wisdom of emptiness?
What is the measure?
What is the measure of having generated, having cultivated, or having generated wisdom of emptiness? You're getting it? Each of these 3 principal paths are taught under 3 topics. They are so beautifully explained with the reasons, logically. Okay, this is one point. Next point that we do need to know is that the Lama Tsongkhapa, the author, whose statue is here, and his style of composition is something that we really need to learn from. His style of composition is that where unnecessary, he will just skip. He will not follow as like rules, regulations. No, what is redundant, he will just skip all the redundants. And what's required, he will just make sure that it is emphatically explained. So therefore, if you see that under renunciation, bodhicitta, wisdom, emptiness, if you see some points missing, you have to get it from some other points. You're getting it? Because that they are repetitive. What is repetitive, he will just skip. So you should be smart enough to identify where, if something is missing, is somewhere, you have to identify that. Okay, so with this in mind, the 3 principal paths are taught here, and each of these 3 principal paths taught under 3 topics, 3 subheadings. What are they? Why, how, and the measure. 3. Okay, let's read this slowly, and you see if you can identify each one of these points under. First, of course, renunciation is taught. Next, bodhicitta is taught. Next, wisdom and emptiness is taught. Okay, let's read this together. 3 principal aspects of the path by Lama Tsongkhapa. I bow down to the Venerable Lamas. As well as I am able, I will explain the essence of all the teachings of the Buddha, the path praised by the conqueror's children. Like here, the conqueror meaning the Buddha, the one who has conquered the mental defilements. Conqueror meaning the Buddha, the one who has conquered all the mental defilements. As well, okay, I bow down to the Venerable Lamas. As well as I'm able, I'll explain the essence of all the teachings of the Buddha, the path praised by the conqueror's children, entrance for those who desire liberation. Listen with a clear mind, you fortunate ones, who are not attached to the joys of cyclic existence. Strive to make good use of leisure and opportunity, and direct your minds to the path that pleases the Buddhas. Without pure renunciation, an end to attraction for the pleasure of cyclic existence is unattainable. The craving for existence also binds beings. Thus, from the outset, seek renunciation. Reverse the attraction to this life by reflecting on how leisure and opportunity are difficult to find and how life is ephemeral and without span. Reverse the attraction to future lives by repeatedly thinking of the infallibility of karma and its effects and the miseries of samsara. Contemplating thus, when for an instant you do not admire the splendors of cyclic existence and remain intent on liberation, day and night, renunciation is born in you then. Okay, renunciation done. Next, bodhicitta. Renunciation, if not tempered by the pure mind of bodhicitta, however, will not bring forth the perfect bliss of unsurpassed enlightenment. Therefore, the wise ones generate the excellent mind of bodhicitta, swept up in the current of the four powerful rivers, tied by strong bonds of karma so hard to undo, caught in the iron net of the self-grasping, completely enveloped by the darkness of ignorance, born and reborn in boundless cyclic existence, ceaselessly tormented by the three miseries. Thinking of your mothers in this condition, the supreme mind of bodhicitta. Although you train in renunciation and the mind of bodhicitta, without wisdom that realizes the ultimate reality, you cannot cut the root of cyclic existence. Therefore, strive to understand dependent arising. One who sees the infallible cause and effect of all phenomena in samsara and nirvana, and to source all focuses of apprehension, has entered the path which pleases the Buddhas. Appearances are infallible, dependent arising. Emptiness is understanding that is true of assertions. As long as these two are seen as distinct, you have not yet realized the intent of the Buddhas. When these two realizations are concurrent, where the mere sight of the infallible dependent origination concurrently destroys all modes of grasping through definite discernment, at that time the analysis of the profound view is perfected. Furthermore, appearances refute the extreme of existence. Emptiness refutes the extreme of non-existence. When you understand that emptiness arises in the form of cause and effect, you are not captivated by the view of extremes. O my child, once you have thus realized the points of the three principal paths, seek solitude and cultivate strong determination, and quickly reach their final aspired goal. Are you good? Anybody who remembers where we left yesterday? Third suffering. What's the third suffering? What's the third suffering? Okay. What's the third suffering?
Pervasive condition suffering.
Pervasive condition suffering. Thank you. What are the three kinds of suffering? Anyone? Three kinds of suffering. Yes, over there.
Suffering of change, and the pervasive conditions.
Thank you. Suffering, change, pervasive condition suffering. Okay. Quickly, to revise what we did yesterday, is there anybody who likes to give a very generic meaning of suffering? Very general meaning of suffering, not just illustrations. What does it mean by suffering? Anyone quick? Lisa? Evident pain. Anything which anybody can evidently see that is a pain, that is suffering, right? And keep in mind that the three sufferings, suffering, change, pervasive condition suffering, these three are mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive meaning, what is suffering cannot be suffering change. What is suffering change cannot be suffering or pervasive condition suffering. Pervasive condition suffering cannot be the first two. So they are mutually exclusive. You getting it? Good. Is there anybody who likes to give us a generic meaning of suffering of change? Anyone? Raise your hands. Yes, over here.
Suffering of change is something hidden. We do not see it clearly direct from the beginning. And I thought about like if we take something and we just say let's make it 1,000 times, and if it's still nice and we say okay that's good, then it's good, and if it starts suffering, then it's suffering.
So let's say it again, which is a suffering but not seen as suffering. Okay, what about pervasive condition suffering? Is it suffering change? Is it suffering which cannot be seen easily? Third one is the subtlest. It's the most difficult to identify. Good. Your name? Nick. Anyone else? What do you understand by the suffering change? Generic meaning, the lady over there? All contaminated happiness, all mundane happiness, meaning that, say, when you say contaminated happiness, which means that there should be uncontaminated happiness. You getting it? So finally, our job is to get the uncontaminated happiness. So whereas what we experience at the moment, they're all the happiness that we experience at the moment, they're all contaminated happiness. All contaminated happiness fall into the category of they are a form of suffering, which Nick said, they're a form of suffering, ways where the ordinary people cannot see them as suffering, but in actuality, they're suffering. Is there anybody who likes to share with us how the contaminated happiness is a suffering? Anyone? Yes?
Suffering because it baits us in samsara.
Okay, the mundane happiness is suffering. What Thomas is saying, mundane happiness is suffering because it serves as a bait for us to be trapped in samsara. So bait, if you identify there's a bait, do you see that's nice or not nice? No? Huh? Not nice. Looks nice. Looks nice but not nice. Good. Yesterday somebody said that is nice when it's for somebody else, when for me it's not nice. You remember? Huh? Huh? For the fish it's nice, for me it's not nice. You're getting it? Okay. So when you say bait means, say, some of the smart animals, the birds, the rats, and the wild animals, some of them are very smart. If they see some food, which is usually unlikely that you can get these foods there, and they see if it is a bait or not. How do they check it? Huh? No. What I'm saying is that if there's the food thrown there, and the animals wants to eat the food, but the animal is also aware that there's something called bait. Right? Animal doesn't know the word bait, but it knows the concept. So the animal wants to check whether it's a bait or a real food. So how does it check? I smell it. Okay. That's amazing. I don't think these animals, they have this smell. If this smell is there, to see is it a bait or not, it will be wonderful. Right? No, poison is not a bait. Poison is not a bait. There's also, yes, the poisonous food, you eat it is temporarily delicious, but it can be poison. There's also bait. True, that's true. Yes. But they say the proper food with the net. With the net, right? How does the poor animal doesn't know there's a net there, but wants to check if it's a bait or not. How does it check? Have you seen the National Geographic? Yes, in the Oscar?
Carefully observing and then trying to chasing.
Yes. Go there, close, and then run away. Go there and run away. You're getting it? And go closer and run away, closer, run away. And finally too close, right? And then trapped. Right? Okay, so why running away? Is to check if it's bait or not. You're getting it? Okay. Bait is something which even the animals know that bait is something which I don't like. If they know that for sure, if they know that it's a bait, they'll instantly run away. They'll not eat food. You agree? Good. Okay. So we're done with the suffering of the change. Done. Now the third one, pervasive conditioned suffering. And the, so of these three experiences, suffering, which is evident pain, suffering of change, which is the mundane happiness, and then the pervasive conditioned suffering. Let's see that the first, when somebody gets this, let's say, the evident pain, do we identify them or not? Do you require to study Buddhism? You don't require to study Buddhism to know that it's pain. And what about the mundane happiness? When you get the mundane happiness, now this mundane happiness, this is happiness, right? Do you have to study Buddhism? No, we don't have to study. Even small children, the toddlers, they know that, right? They give a chocolate to them, they see that, it's delicious, it's nice. They'll ask for more, right? But they don't identify that as suffering change. But they have the experience. What this experience is like, happiness. But they don't identify that as suffering, right? But they do identify the happiness experience. But they don't identify that experience as suffering. You agree? Good. Now the pervasive conditioned suffering, in its true sense, pervasive conditioned suffering, we even don't identify that. Forget about seeing that as suffering. So what is pervasive conditioned suffering? First, let me give you some illustrations, and then we have to know how these illustrations are pervasive conditioned suffering. Number one, pervasive. What do you mean by pervasive? Condition. What do you mean by condition? And then finally, how that is suffering. Okay, let's say, and the examples would be like, say, we, under the control of afflictions, under the control of contaminated karmas and afflictions. Number one, we, being under the control of contaminated karmas and afflictions, is one example, one illustration of pervasive conditioned suffering. Being under the control of contaminated karmas and afflictions is pervasive conditioned suffering. Then number two, involuntary birth in samsara. Involuntary birth in samsara is also another example of pervasive conditioned suffering.
How can it be?
Okay.
Because the soul chooses to be born.
Yes. First, let us enumerate them, then we'll explain. Okay. Verse number one, being under the control of contaminated karmas and afflictions. Number two, involuntary birth in samsara. Number three, the contaminated neutral feelings. Contaminated neutral feelings. Number four, grasping at true existence. Grasping at true existence. Grasping true existence, slash meaning, the two are as synonymous, slash being under the control of self-grasping ignorance. Grasping true existence and being under the sway of self-grasping ignorance, these two mean the same. Being under the sway meaning control of self-grasping ignorance. Okay, so let us go through these one by one. What is the first one? Being under the control of contaminated karmas and afflictions. That how we act, for example, our body. How many your body is not prone to aging and death? How many you have a body which doesn't age, which is not prone to death? We don't have. And how many you like to have a body which does not age and which remains age 16 all the time? Michael? No, what age do you prefer? 21. So let's say 21 years. How many of you want to have this age 16 to 21 all the time? Makes sense? But you don't have the choice. Why? This is because this body that we have obtained, which say invariably undergoes this change, aging, this is not dictated by our choice. These are dictated by somebody for us. That is our own contaminated karmas and afflictions, which we did. So that is a response. For example, if you took a poison, if you took cyanide, right? Cyanide, say like 10 years, the very small dose of cyanide 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Now you feel the effect, right? You feel the effect. And no, I don't want to feel the effect. No, the past is now. The effect is taking place in you now. What you have taken 5 years ago. So likewise, the karmas, contaminant karmas, afflictions which we did in the past, they're not acting on us with the body. Although we want a body which is like always 16 years old. Okay, raise hands those who want to be 16 years old all the time. Raise hands. 16 years, 17 years, 18 years, 20 years, 21 years, 1. Okay, most of you are 21, not 16. Actually, people, the 16 is considered as the peak. But people not to. But he started the journey, he started this trend, 21 years. Okay, let's say that this is the meaning of being under the control of contaminated karmas, afflictions. And then you reach a point where we have to leave the world, and nobody wants to leave the world. It's extremely painful for yourself and painful for everybody else to see that you are leaving the world. It's extremely painful. This is known as pervasive conditioned suffering. One example. And then why this is pervasive conditioned suffering, that I'll explain later. Okay, I think this is better. We explain that first. Why? How many illustrations I gave? How many examples that I gave? 4. So how all these 4 are referred to as the pervasive conditioned suffering, that we have to know. This is so important. And what we do is that the problem is that when we don't encounter with these information which were brought to us by the Buddha Shakyamuni, when we don't have this information, then it's like, what is that? Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss, right? And finally, when you enter into the problem, then you don't find any solution. Whereas, if you get this information beforehand, you become so wise. Subtler the information you get, wiser you are. Subtler the remedies that you learn, wiser you are. So these are the information, extremely subtle information, were provided to us by Buddha Shakyamuni 2,500 years ago. And don't take them blindly. See if they make sense to us. Number 1, pervasive. Why these are known as pervasive? Then conditioned. Then suffering. Pervasive, conditioned, suffering. Okay, first, pervasive has a connotation that the samsara, whole samsara where we take birth, this is classified into 3 groups. What are they known as? What are the 3 groups or the 3 categories of samsara?
Desire.
Yes, desire realm, form realm, formless realm. We learned it somewhere? You heard it before? Huh? These 3 labels, we said it or we did not say it? We didn't say it. Maybe we met past life. Past life I said it, and then maybe some recollection is coming to you now. Was just 2 days ago or day before? Day before, right? Lisa, day before. Yesterday, right? So how you are giving the impression is so like we met past life. Or like 10 years ago. No, just yesterday. Say it vibrantly. What are the 3 categories of the samsaric realms? Tell me. Desire realm. Louder. As so that you do not get breakfast. Desire realm. Form realm. Formless realm. Thank you. Okay. So we see that of the three kinds of suffering, what's the first one? Suffering. Everything is suffering. Suffering exists only in the desire realm. So now these are more technical aspects. Not difficult. We require information. So the first suffering exists only in desire realm. Suffering of suffering. And you can feel free to ask why. You getting it? We have to explore. We have to learn all these things. Suffering exists only in desire realm. What's next? Suffering change. Suffering change exists in the desire realm and the first three form realm. Form realm is divided into four. Form realm is divided into four. These are the technical things. They are not difficult. The only things that you need to gather the information more. You have to enrich the information. They are not difficult. Okay, form realm is divided into four. These four are known as the four concentrations. First concentration level, second concentration level, third concentration, fourth concentration. The four form realms are divided into four groups known as the four concentrations. Okay. Now, suffering change exists only in the desire realm and the first three concentrations of the form realm. Suffering change exists only in the desire realm and the first three concentrations of the form realm. It does not exist on the fourth concentration of the form realm, and it does not exist in all the formless realms.
Why?
Okay, they'll come later. The next is pervasive conditioned suffering. The four illustrations that I gave you, these illustrations exist across the board of samsaric existence, which means that these four exist, the pervasive condition exists, the suffering exists in all the samsaric places, meaning desire realm, all the four form realms, and all the four formless realms. So therefore, the third one is known as pervasive. It pervades across the board of samsara. So that's pervasive. What is the next? Conditioned. Why this one is conditioned? For example, like we are conditioned by quantum karmas and afflictions. We are conditioned by that. In a way, we see that we are like the what do you call those? Say the mastermind and the subordinates. We're being driven by the mastermind. Mastermind is the quantum karmas and afflictions. This is the masterminds, and then we become the slave of the masterminds. Right? Conditioned. We are like the slaves conditioned by the mastermind. So conditioned. And suffering. Because that, while samsara, whether you are in the up, down, wherever happiness, suffering, wherever, you are in a prison. It's a prison. Because you cannot say you are not in a place where you have the freedom to decide for yourself. So as long as we have the pervasive conditioned suffering, we don't have the freedom. What is opposite of samsara? Nirvana. What do you mean by nirvana? Liberation, freedom. So where we are with these three sufferings, we have no freedom. The pervasive, when you are under the dictate of the contaminant karmas afflictions, we have no freedom. You agree? Okay, so that is the suffering. Pervasive, conditioned suffering. Now if you go into the illustrations, first, being under the control of contaminant karmas afflictions, that is done. What's next? Involuntary birth and samsara. Right? Same, why we have this aging, death and so forth, and then some people we have the genetic illnesses, right? Genetic diseases, which we inherited from. Hey, genetic diseases inherited from? By birth, from the parents. And the parents, they don't blame the parents. right? Don't blame the parents. Why did you go into this parent's womb? Right? Don't blame yourself. Right? According to the wrong womb, I should go into the correct womb. Right? And yet you don't have the freedom. Right? Why you don't have the freedom? Because we accumulated this negative karma. Right? So therefore we imprison ourselves. We have given away our own freedom by surrendering to the afflictions and the contaminant karmas. You're getting it? So these are incredibly precious information which the Buddha Shakyamuni shared with us. We're learning this, then our thinking becomes so broad. You're getting it? And then we become wiser. So, this morning what we said, be kind to ourselves and be wisely kind to ourselves. Wisely meaning that we become wiser. We learn the very important information. Okay, these will broaden our perspective of the world. Okay, so the involuntary birth. So the involuntary birth means that we don't have the freedom to choose our birth. This is involuntarily happening, and that happens across the board of samsara in all the three realms. So that therefore it is pervasive conditioned suffering. What is next? Contaminated neutral feelings. You getting it? Contaminated neutral feelings. Again, contaminated neutral feelings exist in all the three realms. This is pervasive. Pervasive and conditioned, meaning that contaminated neutral feelings means that neutral feelings, what Thomas said yesterday, the neutral feelings, they serve as a basis. They serve as a basis for example, say the land. So, is there on this land, is there beautiful flowers growing or the say poisonous plants growing? Not sure. It's a flat land. So, but because of this flat land, beautiful flowers can also grow. Poisonous vegetables can also grow. So it creates a platform for all sufferings to arise. So in the neutral feeling, contaminated neutral feeling is like the fertile land to give rise to the other two sufferings. It's the basis for the other two sufferings. You getting it? So this is how it conditions the other possibilities of suffering and pervasive conditioned suffering. And then, of course, there is suffering because we don't have the freedom. We don't have the freedom. If they say involuntary birth connotes that we don't have the freedom. Do you agree with me? Involuntary birth has a connotation that we don't have the freedom. Involuntary. We don't have you do not voluntarily get into the birth. It's involuntary, means no freedom. Okay, that's suffering. Good. What next?
Grasping a true existence.
Grasping a true existence. Okay, good. Grasping a true existence. Is there anyone who can tell me how the grasping a true existence is, number one, how that is suffering? Anyone? Grasping a true existence is, how is it the suffering? Anyone? Yes. That you are like in a dream, right? So what's the problem if you're in a dream?
You are under control. You don't have control.
How?
Because are dreaming.
So when you're in a dream, you don't have control. How?
Because you don't know what happened.
You don't know what the next part of the dream is. Very good, very true. Yes. Okay. So grasping to existence. How there's a problem that you are in dream, right? You're in dream and you're unaware that you're dreaming. You're unaware that you're dreaming. You see them as real. You grasp things as real, grasping a true existence. You grasp things as truly real, grasping true existence. With this, the problem is that you are unaware that you're dreaming. So whatever the dream decides for you, you have to flow with this. You have no choice to come out of the dream. Till you know that I'm dreaming. You're getting it? So grasping to existence. And this says it happens to, how many of you have this grasping to existence response? Or you're not aware, but I'm grasping to existence or not. I'm not aware. Response? You're not aware? Okay, just pick up something which we did yesterday and look at it and see here how it appears to you. As like your dream, your mind is making it, or no, it's so independent from your mind. How does it appear to you? So independent from your mind. And just as the object appears as independent of your mind, and do you approve this appearance? Yes. Yes, it appears as truly real, and it exists as truly real. When you say it exists as truly real, that is a self-grasping ignorance. That is grasping at true existence. And this happens when? When? 1 hour a year, 1 hour a day? Always. Always. 24/7. It happens 24/7. So, and this is a one, and then how do we know that this is a problem? How do we know this is a problem? You're getting it? The real experience will come to us when we get a glimpse of emptiness. When you get a glimpse of the understanding that what I'm seeing is not reality. When you get a glimpse, then at that point you'll realize that, okay, I'm being the slave of this grasping to existence. This grasping to existence is actually enslaving me. This is the one which makes me a servant, which makes me slave. And the reality is very different. The reality is extremely liberating. Whereas on the contrary, the appearance is so imprisoning. It imprisons us. And see the reality, it liberates us. Okay, so this is the grasping true existence. How? And that exists in all the true realms. Even the Buddha's two teachers, Acharya Alarakaram, Acharya Uddrika. Okay, you remember Acharya Alarakaram, he reached which level? Vacuity. Vacuity is where? Desire realm, form realm, formless? Formless. Which formless? Number 3, vacuity. And the second teacher, Acharya Uddrika, reached the 4th one. The ultimate of the formless, which is the peak of existence. It reached that. But because that, although is the ultimate peak of existence, because that he did not see the emptiness, he was still in the pervasive condition suffering. Although meditative experience is so profound, but still there is loss of freedom, no liberation, because he is trapped in the pervasive condition suffering. You getting it? Good. So why we are talking about these 3 sufferings? Gishima will not know. You know why? Because she was absent yesterday. Okay, anyone? Yes.
Get to Nirvana.
Get to Nirvana. In what context we explaining this? Anyone? 4 sins, which one?
This is part of the second one. All contaminated things are suffering nature.
Very good. Srishti, right? Srishti. What's your name?
Yes, Srishti.
Srishti. Srishti. Okay. Thank you. So she put us all in track, otherwise for Nirvana, right? Right. So Srishti help us to put in the track. She put us in track. And I'm not Nirvana, still we are all contaminated things of suffering nature. We're going to get not Nirvana yet for Nirvana, but the context is in that context, in the context of number 2. Seal number 2, right? Thank you. Okay, Srishti, thank you. Okay, all contaminated things of suffering nature. Now, all contaminated. What do you mean by contaminated? My girl, you are the one who asked this question yesterday. Yes. Contaminated means what is afflicted. Contamination is afflictions. You getting it? So what is afflicted by the contaminations is known as contaminated. Whatever is contaminated is only miseries. Right? Miseries. Okay, there are some nuances here and there. I don't want to go too much into the nuances for the time being, otherwise we'll get lost. And for time being, we flow with this. What is next? What is next? Here, okay, let's ask Shrishti, otherwise we get distracted in there. Yes, what next?
Everything is of the nature of emptiness and selfishness.
Perfect. This is number 3. You're getting it? So, in future, all of us. Okay. So we're done with number 1. All composite things impermanent. Number 2, all contaminated things suffer nature. So what he said is that, what is the link? Is there anybody who can remember the link between these two? How these two are linked? The first line and the second line. If somebody can remember this, I'll be most happy. Okay, here.
Sense of emergency? Like
Link. How these two are connected?
the first and the second?
How the first and second, how the two are connected? Anyone?
What are the lines referring to? First two seals?
First is seals, yes. Anyone who can share with me how the second one is linked to the first seal? Anyone?
Our mind is under control of affliction, so that diverts us from meditating upon impermanence.
How?
Ignorance?
Anyone? How the first link is linked to the second? How the first link takes us to the second? How the first seal takes us to the second seal?
You don't have much time?
How?
Urgency?
Anyone else? So first, all composite things are impermanent. Because it's, therefore, all contaminated things are suffering nature. Right? Anyone? Did I say this yesterday or not?
That the first one is the cause of the second, impermanence is the cause of suffering.
How?
Because of
Anyone? Did we discuss this or not?
Not sure.
Okay. No? Huh?
This urgency.
Yeah.
Because we said urgency doesn't mean that the point is not discussed. Right? Yes. Okay, anyone else? I'll be very happy if somebody can really link the two. How the understanding of the first takes us to the second, understanding of the second. Okay, Venerable, this is the Mokila.
Yeshla, because we are moving in the fast train of gross and subtle impermanence, and this train driver is our mind, as Shrishti said, and that mind is under the sway of contaminated karmas and afflictions, and so that is leading us in.
Very good. Thank you. So what is being said here by the Mokila is that all composite things are impermanent, meaning that what is composite should necessarily be undergoing momentary change. Momentary change means moving so fast. Faster train moves, more the fear, right? So then the urgency, no time, all these come here. Faster the train moves, more the fear, which means impermanence. Then who decides this fast moving train? Where this train is taking us, who decides? The driver decides. Who's the driver? Your mind is the driver. And if the driver is dictated under the control of the travelers, it'll take you to the slaughterhouse. So our mind, which moves so fast, all composite things are impermanent. Once moves so fast, mind, your body, everything moves so fast. And where is this train, fast-moving train, going towards which direction? To a picnic spot or to a slaughterhouse? Decided by the driver or the person who dictates the driver. So in our case, our mind is the driver, and what dictates our mind is the contaminations. When the contamination decides where your train is going, the fast-moving train, the contamination is like the terrorists will take us only to the miseries. All contaminated things are suffering nature. You understand it? You got it? Huh? You not got it? Huh? If you got it, presents. Good. If somebody can repeat, share, paraphrase whatever is said now, how the second seal is linked with the first seal. Anyone who likes to repeat it or paraphrase it or say the same thing in your own words? Anyone who likes to share? Raise hands. Yes, over there.
I wonder how do we recognize the contamination? Because in daily life, we should that we have a free choice and we are not usually recognized or can say what is contamination and what is really something that really exists in our life. So,
can you give us an example?
yes, like I was growing, as you see, many years, but when I was a child, I was growing in a specific family, and I had to invest many years to realize the faults and understand that the reality outside my family is different than the reality that I grew up with.
So, what's the question?
How do I recognize
the contamination? Very good.
Okay, I got rid of a lot of dirt and.
Okay, let's say your name. Ayele. So what Ayele is, just correct me if I'm wrong. Ayelet. Okay, just correct me if I'm wrong. What Ayelet is saying is that when she was little, she saw her family as a whole world. She did not see what is outside the world, right? So when you go out, you see the world is very different. It's not, exactly how your family is. This is not the real world. There's another world there. So likewise, now the Ayelet came out of the family world to the bigger world. Now we come to learn even the bigger world is also contaminated. How do we know that it's contaminated? Is this a question? Good. This is a very good question. Okay. Anybody who can help me? How do we know that? So first Ayelet was in the family, thought that this whole world, everything is like this. And she discovered that no, everything is not like this. Also the world is different. She discovered another reality, right? Now getting to this another reality, again, she met with right? This was Buddha. We said that even this also contaminated, right? So how do you know that? How do you know this contaminated? Anybody who can help me?
Because we experience suffering.
Because we experience suffering, but we experience also happiness, right?
But the happiness is not.
I'm a very happy person. Yeah.
Happiness is not permanent.
Happiness is not permanent. Don't talk to me, Rainbow. Talk to her directly. Happiness is not permanent. So your question is that how do you know that the second level of the realization is also contaminated? So Renpo is explaining that that's contaminated because we're not happy, we have sadness. And you said, no, I'm a very happy person. So he said, even this happens also impermanent.
Not in my experience. Now I'm quite happy. I have those down feelings if, I'm coming from a war zone and
Holocaust.
zone.
Yes.
So we are not all the time happy, but basically my life are very...
Okay, the Eliad, your name? Eliad. Ayelet. Ayelet. Okay, let's say Ayelet. And do you admire some people who are very kind in this world?
Many?
No, give me one example.
You mean famous? Somebody?
Not famous, somebody who really says, wow, this is somebody who is really kind, so kind. I want to learn from this. I want to be as kind as this person.
Okay. I can say the Dalai Lama.
Okay, let's say His Holiness the Dalai Lama, right? His Holiness the Dalai Lama, that he's so kind. If the whole world leaders like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, all these trillions and trillions of dollars, instead of going to the wars, will go into the charity, healthcare, education, flourishing, and so forth. Wow, that's amazing. If I can become a part of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, if I could do something 1/10 of what he's doing, right? I'll be so happy. Yes, no? Yes. So, there is a happiness bigger than the happiness that you're experiencing now. Yes, no. Yes. So, happiness is relative. Yes. Relative to a bigger happiness, smaller happiness is suffering.
I can't say that the essence of the Dalai Lama is suffering.
No, what I'm saying, if you have the capacity to help the whole world, make everybody happy, and you're not making happy, you say, I'm happy all the time, but not making the world happy, right? If you know that this is what I can do, I can make the world happy, rather than just myself feeling happy, right?
I think I'm making the world happy. They just define the world because I have a limited possibility.
This is what I'm saying. You have limitation is a problem, yes?
No, I don't.
Huh?
I don't think it's a problem.
No, let's say limitation. If you're not bound by the limitation, you'll be happier, yes? If you're not bound by the limitation, you'll be happier.
I don't see my limitations as limitations for.
No, so you said that I have a limitation. Limitation in ways that I cannot really benefit so many people the way His Holiness the Dalai Lama is doing. So if I can do like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I'd be very happy. Yes, no?
I think I could, but I don't. It's not my.
No, this is not my question. The question, if you can, if you are given choice, you have to choose only one. Either you become like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, benefit so many people, or you become one like yourself now, where you cannot benefit as much. Which of the two choices will you go for?
Yeah.
The first one.
Yeah.
So if the second one blocks you from the first one, the second one is a obstruction, right? Obstruction is not good. You're smiling means you agree. Okay, good. I'm glad. In fact, this is how we have to grow. You have to grow. We have to grow. I have to grow. You have to grow. We have to grow like this, if possible, with question answers, and that'll be very good. Good. Okay. So what is next? Shristi. Yes, yeah.
We didn't finish re-explaining how the first one is causing the second.
True, that's true. Thank you. Okay, how the first one? We finished. Yes, we finished, but I simply want somebody to make sure that you got it. Or anybody who can paraphrase it? Yes.
Like the train of the impermanent is going very
So the first line, first seal, talks about this subtle impermanence with like a very fast moving train. Then
this train is driven by the mind.
this train for us is driven by the mind.
We have obscuration. So
And that is under the control of the contamination. Affliction is contamination.
So this is driving in the wrong.
And it will take us only to the wrong direction of the miseries, right? So this says, thank you. Your name again?
Joel.
Okay, Joel. Joyal.
G-O-E-L.
Okay, Joel. Thank you. Okay, so Joel put it so beautifully. You all understood that? You got it? Okay. Anybody else who likes to paraphrase it? Gabor, you like to paraphrase it?
So that the first seal is that all composite things are impermanent, and this is understood on two levels: the gross impermanence and the subtle impermanence. And then we see that we are trapped in this train of impermanence that is moving so fast, and the driver of this train is our mind. So the mind decides our experience of this life. And the life is being, the mind is being under the sway of the contaminations, and this is how the second seal links to this, because all contaminated things are suffering.
So what is influenced by the afflictions as contaminations will only take us to suffering. All God?
I don't understand the relevance of the fast train. Like, why does it matter fast?
Because if the fast train means fast train and you don't know who the driver is, and if you know, apparently if you know that the driver is a terrorist, it's very scary. Right? Faster train moves, more the fear. Yes?
Yeah, but that's not necessary for the link between the two.
No, this is the link. Fast train is the impermanence. Driver being under the listen. First, fast train is the first link. Impermanence, subtle impermanence. Then the driver being under the dictate of the contamination under the terrorist, that is the second link. You getting it? So fast train with the wrong driver takes us to miseries. Fast train impermanence will take us with the wrong cause, contaminated cause will take us to miseries. It's very obvious. Okay. Shrishti, tell me what's next.
Everything is of the nature of emptiness.
Okay, next. The question is, if this is a reality, yes, a life under the dictate of contaminations will only take us to miseries. When will these miseries stop? Okay, how many of you ever cried in your life out of sadness? Resents? No? Yes? Okay, Tomar? No? You cried at least once? Yes. Okay. Resents? You cried once. Okay. Why did you cry? Cry of joy or cry of sadness? Both. Right? Which means cry of sadness was there. Okay. When will these tears of sadness stop? When will these stop? This next question. You getting it? When you come to know that this is misery, this is the story. Look, all what I say myself is just contamination, self-grasping ignorance. So with this, it only takes me to miseries, right? When will these? And then I have to shed tears. So painful. And how many of you really had extremely painful experiences? So heavily painful experiences. Resents? Okay, resents also do not have that experience. Resents? Are you sure? Young ones? No? If the young ones below 20, if you don't have that experience, don't worry, wait. They're waiting for you. Acute pains. Did pain choose Shumaza? No, I'm not Rumi.
Yes, I'm a sad.
La.
I'm not Tony. And then there is some songs. So that kind of, I wasn't that low and sad, but I feel like happy. I haven't seen her like before this. I was thinking of praying for her. I never knew well.
Okay. So for me, for example, like the loss of my teacher, when it was a big sense of loss, deep loss. Because at that age, in my 20s, I had so many questions. And many of the answers that I'm giving you now, these are the outcome of these questions which I had in my young days. So these questions, I was craving for really brilliant people to give the answers to these questions. And then one of my teachers, Venerable Geshe Rinpoche, who was the principal, also a teacher here in IBD Institute, where Geshe also studied. And then he was the one with brilliant answers, amazing, extremely brilliant logician, philosopher, psychologist, and extremely kind. On the surface, he appears so scary person. Just to see him, many of the students, they do not really dare to approach him. He has a rough appearance, but inside is extremely sophisticatedly compassionate. Extremely compassionate. Okay, so when I lost him, it was a deep feeling of loss that came to me. Deep feeling. Now, to whom should I turn to for the questions? Okay, so, and these problems, these tears, when will they stop? This next question. When will they stop? Right? 2013, 2023, it stopped on its own. Yes? Nobody did anything to stop it. It stopped on its own. Yes? Hey, what happened? It's you're in coma state. 2023, it stopped on its own. Yes? Nobody did anything to stop it. Right? And even if you want to stop it, nobody can stop it. Even the Buddha cannot stop it. But nobody can stop this 2023. So impermanent phenomena, while we discussed two kinds of impermanence with Gabor, explained so well, gross and subtle, you can classify that from another perspective. There's another classification. The impermanent phenomenon, whose continuum will invariably stop, number one, like 2023. And whose continuum never stops, like your mind, like the atoms, electrons, continuum of the electrons, protons. They never stop. Because there's no annihilation, there's no destruction, there's no creation of the matter or the energy. So likewise, the mind does not, it never stops. There's no destruction, there's no creation of the mind. Time, it never stops. There's a third category of phenomena, impermanent phenomena, which will never stop if you don't exert effort. With effort, you can stop it. For example, like our self-grasping ignorance. Our self-grasping ignorance will never stop. Our contaminant karmas will never stop if we don't put effort to stop it. They'll never automatically stop. And our tears of samsara, our tears of the pains will never stop if we don't put effort to stop this. And how to stop the tears of the pains? Hey. By resorting to, by getting rid of the ultimate cause of the miseries. And what's the ultimate cause of miseries? Self-grasping ignorance. How do you remove that? By the wisdom of emptiness. You getting it? So it is only through the wisdom of emptiness that we can stop all the tears of the pains of samsara. So, how to stop this pain is only by, don't wait, 2023, it stopped on its own. Now there's wait so that my tears will one day stop completely. There never will be a time where your tears will stop on its own. You have to put effort. What effort required? You have to put the wisdom of emptiness. You have to build the wisdom of emptiness within us. So, what is the wisdom? Wisdom, do you agree with me? That the wisdom is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with the reality. Wisdom is a discerning mind. So what the Joel said, that how to stop the tears of samsara is by introducing the ultimate remedy, which is the wisdom of emptiness. What is the wisdom? Wisdom is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with the reality. Let me repeat it. Wisdom is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with the reality. What's your next question? I said, wisdom is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with the reality. What's the next question? What is the reality? You're getting it? So reality, you turn to Srishti. What's the reality? Third seal.
Everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness.
That's the reality. You're getting it? Everything is the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Seal number 3. So seal 2, then it connects to the seal 3. You're getting it? If you don't want to have the miseries, you have to put effort to stop the miseries. How to stop what kind of effort is required to stop the miseries is by cultivating the wisdom of emptiness. What is the wisdom of emptiness? What's the wisdom? Wisdom is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with the reality. What's the reality? The third seal. Everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. You're getting it? Okay, so this takes us to the study of emptiness, which the major part of this retreat is going to be dedicated to understand what emptiness is, what the reality is. If you understand this reality, what happens? If you understand this reality, let's say that we understood the reality, right? Let's say initially introduced to this concept through this retreat, and then you may do more systematic studies of the emptiness, and then reflect, and then meditate, and then what? In what way it helps. So there, with the wisdom of emptiness, what happens? That what's the opposite wisdom of emptiness? Ignorance, self-grasping ignorance, which is like iceberg. You remember yesterday I said it? Iceberg, which is the foundation of all what is stacked on top of this. Iceberg starts to melt. Once the iceberg melts, what happens? What is stacked on the iceberg, they will all crumble down. What is there? Inappropriate attention. Hey, self-grasping ignorance iceberg on which is stacked the inappropriate attention, afflictions, quantum karmas, and miseries of samsara. All these will crumble down on its own. You getting it? So your miseries stop. Miseries stop. All your agitations, all your sorrows stop. You transcend sorrow. Hey Srishti, what is number 4?
Transcending sorrow is absolute peace.
Your sorrow transcended. This takes us to the absolute peace of nirvana. This is what we are seeking. You're getting it? Good? So this constitutes the teaching on the 4 seals. So we have to emphasize on the number 3. What is number 3? Lisa? Everything is the nature of emptiness. This is what we really need to work on. So, major part of our retreat here is going to be focused on that. Okay, we'll stop here. Parasangate bodhisvatyata om gati gati paragati parasangate bodhisvatyata om gati gati paragati rasangati bodhisvaha. Okay, 3 positions.